Hey, folks, you're live with Lonzo, the Godfather of West Coast Hip Hop and the president of the Compton Entertainment Chamber of Commerce. And this is Compton Chronicles. You know, every once in a while in my travels, somebody tapped me on my shoulder and said, "You remember me from Eve After Dark?" It's been a long time ago. But this lady right here made me remember her like nobody else. She told me about DJs that was there from day one. She showed me a book of matches that I wish I had from Eve After Dark. She showed me an original membership card from Eve After Dark that Jeffy gave us before we had the new one printed up. So when I talked to her about the Eve After Dark, and she connected me with a buddy of mine from Captain Crunch and the Funky Bunch. Told me she was a Soul Train dancer. She was an original Eve After Dark patriot, and also a judge. A juvenile judge. I said, you know what, we got to talk on the show. That's some amazing stuff. From the Eve After Dark to a juvenile judge. My guest today is Miss Sharlene Young. How you doing, Sharlene?
I'm doing great. How about you?
I'm doing fantastic, darling. I was really impressed with our conversation we had a couple weeks ago. I was in my garage and we was texting back and forth. You started sending me pictures and stuff like that. And when you said you were a juvenile judge, that's something that just struck a nerve with me. That's with me. I'm like, huh? Because I work with kids all the time, and I know a couple of criminal judges. I know a couple other judges. I've never met a juvenile judge before, and somebody from Eve After Dark that was a patron of Eve After Dark, and to be where you are, Soul Train, the whole 9 yards. I had to share that story with my audience. Could you tell me about that role, about that road you had to travel to get to where you are?
Oh, wow. Where do I start? We don't have all day.
I got about 45 minutes.
Okay. Well, you know what? In the beginning, of course, Eve After Dark, we just wanted some place to go and hang out and have fun. We didn't have a whole lot of places to go because all we had at the time, if you remember, was someone would give a party or give some type of a get together, a gathering in their garage with that red light.
Right. Or the blue light.
Or that blue light. And we thought we were so cool. But at the time, when you're 15, 16, 17 years old, you're not thinking about things long term, because I didn't wake up one morning and say, I'm going to go out and I'm going to become a judge and work youth court.
Wow.
It wasn't like that. But being in high school, we just wanted some place to go and have fun and enjoy ourselves. So that's when we started coming to the Eve After Dark. And yeah, I remember Sweet Ron and what's his name? Cleophas, Dr. Rock.
Dr. Rock.
Okay. Now, and you and your wrecking crew, because I remember DJ Young.
Now, you know, when you start calling them names, Sweet Ron, those names are not very familiar to most people when it comes to Eve After Dark history. They left, I don't know, maybe about a year or so. Dre them came in shortly right behind that. And most people, unless you were an original Eve After Dark dancer, partier, whatever you want to call them, you would know their names, okay? And that book of matches you showed me was something that people don't even do that no more. Put matches out. That was a way of us promoting the club. And you got 2 books of Eve After Dark matches.
You know what? I sure do. Because see, we do these things when you're in high school. You have what's called a memory book.
Wow.
And I kept mine. And the Eve After Dark was such an important part of my growth because me and my friends, we hung out. We went to the Eve After Dark. You see that?
Wow.
You see that right there?
The flyers.
And, the matches over here.
Yes, yeah, the black thing.
And you know, and you got to work.
Wow, that's amazing, baby. That's something people don't do no more. People don't do that no more. Kids throw away everything.
You know what? The memories. That's because they don't understand yet that memories are important to your growth.
That's true. That's very true. That's very true. And we didn't do a lot of funerals back in our time. You know, we didn't. Funerals were something we did. You know, you had to go see your auntie or grandmama or somebody from the neighborhood that just, died or whatever. But we didn't go to a lot of youth funerals.
No, we did not.
It was not a part of our social activities. And I know things have changed a lot, but damn it, it shouldn't have changed that much.
It shouldn't have. But see, one thing, there's this new millennium, what I feel. Okay, these are my thoughts because I don't try to push my thoughts on anyone. I just try to make them understand that there is another point that you can put on things. Um, one of the things I always felt is the old fashioned ways. People may not like them, but they worked. Okay,
Right.
days of Big Mama, those days of Madia, the elders that kept us all together, that was they participated and they were very supportive in our growth and the things that we did, because I'm sure that you were told as much as what I was told. Just go out and have fun, because the one thing that you learn, you're going to be an adult a lot longer than you were ever a child.
Ooh.
Okay. And a lot of us lose track of that. A lot of us forget that because, and I'm not trying to be offensive, but society says that our kids are adults when they turn 18. Well,
Biggest lie.
knowing what you know, we're not adults when we turn 18, not in every form of the word, because there's a lot of responsibility that comes with that. And a lot of kids don't realize that now.
I was scared. I turned 18. I was actually scared. I had a kid. I turned 18, graduated high school, and had a kid all the same week. I was terrified.
Wow.
I was terrified.
Wow.
Okay. My daddy was on my head. I'm going to Lamaze classes. I'm going, well, birthing classes and parenting classes, and I'm trying to graduate. I was five credits short. I was going through it.
There's a lot to absorb. There's a lot to put into being an adult and growing up. And when you're, to use your words, 18 and you're getting ready to have a baby, and everyone agrees that babies are really cute, they're really sweet, and they're precious. But the thing is, life as you knew it is over
Over.
completely. Because you don't get to sleep until 1 or 2 o'clock in the afternoon anymore.
Right.
And when you have a baby, as precious as they are, and I consider them blessings from God, but when you have a baby, okay, that means you don't get to sleep from 11 o'clock at night until 8 o'clock in the morning. You're going to sleep until maybe midnight, and then they're going to wake up, and then they're going to go back to sleep, and they're going to sleep until maybe about 2, and then you're going to have to get up again. It's like
Right.
everything completely changes. See, and we're thinking that we're a lot older than what we are until we turn 25 and we realize how young and immature 18 still is.
Totally. How did you become? How did you go from being Soul Train dancer, Eve After Dark, to being a judge? A juvenile. Are you a juvenile? What's your exact terms? I won't say them.
Youth court judge.
Youth court judge.
Yes.
Exactly. What is a youth court judge for those who don't know?
A youth court judge is the first line of defense to prevent expulsion.
Okay.
It's a program that the unified school districts have started. Not all of them are on board with it yet because it is a new program, but it's allowing our kids to make mistakes and understand that a mistake can be fixed, but you want to catch it before it becomes a life-changing situation. Okay, now you want a life-changing situation positive, but not negative. Okay,
Right.
because we learn as we get older that the older you get, you realize just how young and silly and immature you were when you were 15, 16 years old. But if you turn 25 and you start thinking, okay, what am I going to do with the rest of my life? Depending on what type of job or career goals you choose, excuse me, what you did at 15 or 16 years old is going to come back to haunt you. So
Right.
you're learning through youth court, okay, that I made a mistake and I have to answer to it because we know there are repercussions and consequences to certain actions and decisions that we make. Through youth court, you have a chance to fix it. Go forth and prosper and sin no more before it becomes a permanent part of your history. You know, because a lot of kids aren't understanding. You can't just go spouting off at the mouth. You can't run around and tell someone how much of your butt you're going to kick. Because nowadays, if a person is afraid enough from what you've said and they feel you have the ability to carry out that threat, you've just committed a crime, especially if they contact the police.
Mm.
See, there's
Even even minors.
even minors, even minors, because you have kids 7, 8, 10 years old. That is ugly and hurtful as it may sound and disheartening as it may sound. You've got some 10-year-olds that are murderers.
Huh?
Oh yeah, there was a case some years ago. Excuse me, I believe it was in England. These two 10-year-olds lured this little 3-year-old away. They tortured and killed him. Okay, and it's part of their history. Now, yes, they were arrested, and yes, they spent a lot of time in juvie, but these are the actions, because at the time they thought it was fun, they thought it was cute, they thought it was something that was fun to them, not realizing the lives that were affected, that baby's life, their life, the parents. There's more than just that one person and their thoughts involved. There's a lot going on. Like I said, things are not the way that they were. Old fashioned traditions is what we had when we were growing up, but they worked. They
I got-
worked. And
Okay. That being said, how do you feel about corporal punishment?
I believe that everyone should own their actions. I believe that everyone should be responsible and pay for their behavior. But I don't believe a life for a life is the way to handle that. Those are just my thoughts.
What about a good old fashioned butt whooping?
A good old fashioned ass whooping never hurt anybody, and that's what was given out when we were kids, and it made us better adults. If they go back to that, okay. Remember when the schools were able to give out SWATs and
Yeah, I got a few of them.
and the neighbors, okay,
Boy,
and I'm sure you remember you go somewhere and you step out of line, and mama or daddy said, "You're gonna get a whooping when you get home." We sitting up trying to we're sitting up trying to go to sleep, trying to pray that our nose or something start bleeding just so they don't forget about what they told us, and we couldn't think past the next minute because we were so sure that we were going to get that butt whooping when we got home.
now
But it made us better adults.
you can't prescribe an ass whooping, can you?
No, you can't. It just seemed like in my house, it seemed like that belt was just floating in the air because every time my mother reached her arm up, it just fell in her hand.
You know,
But
I had an idea. I'm running this past you right quick, Judge. I had
yeah.
an idea. Okay.
Oh, hey, you know what? Real quick, did
Go
you
ahead.
see that?
What's that? Oh, wait. Oh, your badge and your picture.
Yeah, that was when I was with the sheriff's department. I
Lord have mercy.
never showed you that.
You could have arrested me and took me to jail any night of the week. I'm just gonna say it.
Oh, thank you, my friend.
I had this crazy, huh?
You do what you got to do when you got to do it.
I admit, I had this crazy idea because for a while, kids were telling parents, "You can't whip me, you can't whip me," and then some authorities said you can spank your kid, but there was never any type of guidelines on how to do this, to my knowledge. Okay, and I thought about coming up with some draws that had like a target on them, a line, of some underwear, because you pretty much whooping on the behind anyway. Okay,
Mhm.
if you had some underwear and gave you a area which was okay to whoop in without getting prosecuted. Okay, and give you a special device that you can use like a little leather thing, something little leather, but it had to be approved by the feds or at the state that you can apply this to that butt 10 times in this area without fear of prosecution. Okay, I think if we have something like that, we'd be all right. I know that sounds a little far fetched, but damn it, you got to have guidelines these days because anything outside the line could be a foul, and now the parents getting punished.
Well, you know what? There is a slippery slope. Okay. But just so we're clear,
Mhm.
there is no law anywhere that says you cannot punish your child. Okay, they're
Okay.
saying you can hit your kid, just don't leave marks. Okay, you don't
Okay.
fight your child like you're out there fighting for your life with somebody else. We're no, we're not promoting. Okay, you can't hit your kid. Don't put your hands on them. Don't do anything. Don't do it because see, if it's going to be the truth known, when we were kids, that was abuse. Okay, that
Yeah. Yeah.
that was abuse.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
you can. No one is saying you can't spank your child. Okay, but taking the cord out of the iron, beating somebody with the other end of the belt buckle, okay, taking a hanger and start swinging and swinging and like your eyes is closed.
Right.
You can discipline your child, just don't leave marks. Your child is not supposed to walk around with a black eye or a broken nose or broken teeth. Okay, you just got to know that when you're disciplining somebody, that's what you're doing. You're disciplining and you're trying to make them understand that this is not to happen again. Okay, but
Yeah.
you don't throw them in front of traffic and there's just a way of doing it. It's all in presentation and delivery. I say that all the time.
Now, you got some kids that are a little fair skinned than others. So no matter what, you look at them hard, they get a bruise. Okay.
Yes, yes.
So, I mean,
You know,
I had a couple of nieces. They so light. If you pinch them, they just turn cherry red. I'm like,
oh,
damn.
absolutely, absolutely. This is a true story. When my son was 4 years old, I'm driving up the street, and he was hard headed as he usually was, and I went to make a left turn and the door flew open and he almost fell out and I grabbed him. I grabbed him and brought him back into the car. All five of my fingers was right here on his shoulder. And then when he went to school, I had to go up there and explain why all five of my fingers is up here around his neck. But
Wow.
he almost fell out of the car. And of course, no one believed me because you're expected to lie and say that you didn't do it. But
Right.
that the truth of the matter is he almost fell out of the car.
Okay.
you know Accidents happen. you know
Right.
so no one is saying, like I said, you can't discipline your kid. It's just presentation and delivery is all in the way that it's done. But see, these kids right now that we have in this new millennium of life, they're misconcepted as to what's allowed and what's not allowed. And I just think it's really disheartening because these young adults nowadays, they're not paying attention to the way life really is. And just like you and I had talked a few days ago, I believe that the curriculum in schools are fine. You can get education from anywhere as long as that's what you're going to get. I just feel like home economics should not be an elective. Home economics should be a
Hmm.
requisite,
Right.
okay, before graduating. Teach kids how to pay bills, teach kids how to balance a checkbook, teach kids about the value of having credit because we're not rich,
Right.
okay? We're not rich. So a poor man's way of buying assets and having things is their credit.
Hmm.
Protect your name and know what's important so that you can go out in the world and you can be successful. Okay, it doesn't mean that one thinks they're better than the other. It just means that there's a way of building yourself up and building up your name so that you can become a successful adult. It's just
Okay.
that simple. It's anything that's worth having is not easily gotten, but if you pay attention to the lessons that are out there, you will learn and you will go forward and you will be a successful adult.
Makes sense to me. Uh, you say you were a sheriff.
I was a sheriff. I was
I,
a sheriff's deputy for 25 and a half years.
out that badge, I wouldn't believe that. Okay, out that badge, I wouldn't believe that. You L.A. County, San Bernardino, or what?
San Bernardino County.
I know you probably have friends on the sheriff department. Is there a big difference on the L.A. County? Is there a big difference in the sheriff two departments?
The LA sheriff's is much bigger. San Bernardino County is a bigger county, but LA County is busier and they're 20,000 plus strong, whereas San Bernardino County is only about 5,000 strong.
Okay, okay. So you were a regular sheriff out in the car shoot, arresting folks doing the whole night? You wasn't a meter maid, were you? I'm talking. I'm just asking. I got to ask.
No, I went through the academy. I got my post certificate. I got my advanced post. And yes, I was making arrests, writing reports, going to court, doing everything that needed to be done. And it wasn't easy. You know, policing is a good job for those of us that can actually get it and keep it. And you have people's lives and freedom and thoughts in your hands. So you want to make sure when you're talking to people that you're giving them good advice and the best advice, and you're letting them feel like what they're saying to you is important. Now, yeah, there are some times when people feel like, you know, well, I called you an hour ago and you're just now getting here. Okay, it's not that we're ignoring your calls. It's just that when it comes time for answering calls, yours isn't the only one that comes in, and you have to prioritize what's most important. So that's why some calls are delayed and some aren't.
Okay. You know, I'm looking at my chat room right now. We got a few of my regulars in there: Easy Steve, Gary's Garage, Martin Cozy, and you got some hellos in there. You got some. Everybody wonder if you ever had to deal with Easy E or anybody from N.W.A. That wasn't your territory, though, right? No.
Yes. No, well, that wasn't my territory. I was out here in San Bernardino.
Okay.
You know, there's a thing called letter of the law, and there's a thing called spirit of the law. Okay.
Okay.
When a police officer is out there, okay, unless you've done something that they just can't blow over, there are times when a police officer can say, okay, well, I'm not going to give you a ticket this time. I'm going to give you a warning and let you go on, but don't do that again. Or, okay, I'm not going to arrest you this time. I'm going to long form the report, and we'll let the district attorney decide if there's any more charges going to come out of it. So depending on what's going on at that time, you do have that choice. I didn't give everyone a ticket that I pulled over, you know, because there are times when, just like our youth, like we were talking, sometimes people just simply don't know. And you don't want to just punish somebody because you can, when genuinely they just made a mistake and they don't know. That's the kind of officer I was.
I, being a juvenile, being a what did I wrote it out. A youth court judge. See the kind of things the kids are experiencing in the media, social media, videos, whatever the case may be, musically. How do you feel that impacts the your job or the kids that you had to come before you?
You know what? It's hurtful because people are very influenced by what they see on TV. Okay, you got adults out there that will come to. When I was wearing my uniform, people would say, well, you didn't even read me my rights. You violated my civil rights. And I would tell them, no, I didn't violate your rights. I only have to read them to you if I'm going to talk to you about the case. So, see, and people are so influenced by what they see on TV, they don't realize that when a crime happens, it's not a happy ending within an hour. There's a lot of investigation that goes on. There's a lot of witnesses. There's a lot of things involved, and I'm not saying that every crime gets that type of attention. I do know that there are some horror stories out there, but I'm just one person. I can't save the world, but I did what I could while I was there. And when I see things and I'm talking with these kids, I just know that it's because they don't understand the system. They don't really know what's going on. They don't really know how to approach it. Because like I said, 18 society puts restrictions and puts laws and bylaws, and they govern us with things. Come on, when you're 18, you're just learning how to go forward. You just graduated out of high school. You've been living a life that your parents have been in control of for the past 18 years, and now you need to go out there and start thinking and start being responsible. And certain things you just never had to face because your parents handled it for you.
Right.
So, one of the things I tell the kids that I have that have been in front of me, and I told them, okay, the bad thing is you've made a mistake and it got you here. But the good thing is we're going to fix that mistake and we're going to make it go away so that you can go forward with your life and not have to deal with this and worry about this when you're 25. Because anything else could happen, they're going to do a background on you. And when they see something ugly, you're not going to get that job.
what's the appreciation rate for something like that?
You know what? I've had so many kids come back to me. Some of them are really, really sweet, really smart, really nice. I've had so many kids that have come to me and say, you know what? One female told me, Miss Young, you are the epitome of a strong Black woman. When I grew up, I want to be just like you. I sat there and cried like a baby because I thought that was the sweetest thing anybody had ever said.
Wow, wow.
Some of the guys have come to me and said, you know what? I wish that you were at my school because you would be my favorite teacher. I don't make everybody happy like that, but for the most part, I have had some really positive endings with a lot of kids.
That's good. That's good.
One, I'm good.
Okay, that's fantastic here. What's the return rate for as kids coming back to your before you on a regular basis?
You know what is very low? I would say the program is very, very successful. The kids, to give you a percentage, I'll say maybe 15% is very low. Because you catch a child while they're young, and you make them understand that, hey, there are repercussions and consequences to your decisions and your actions. Okay, you catch them now. Okay, because they really, I remember a story some years ago. A couple of kids was walking to school and they found a cigarette lighter, and they thought it was cool to roll up some paper and try to smoke it. Well, we all know that you can't roll up notebook paper and light it and think you're going to get anything out of it. But that just shows the immaturity. And once you explain certain things to them, okay, then they realize, okay, I've been given a second chance, and they go forward with that chance. A lot of the kids that have come in front of me, they're in college now, they're working. Okay, a couple of them actually have families of their own now. They come back and talk to me later.
Okay, that's a good thing.
Oh, yeah. Oh, it's positive.
Your days on Soul Train. I got to go back for a minute. Your days on Soul Train. Were
Okay.
you one of the girls that came down the Soul Train line?
You know what? I went down the Soul Train line a couple of times. I remember kicking my leg up, and I remember doing some shaking. I do that stuff now. I'm going to hurt myself. I was on Soul Train for a couple of years back in 79, 80, 81. I was there with Charles, Gary, Steve, Esther, Captain Crunch, and the Funky Bunch. And that's when Charles can jump up in the air and do a Camelot, and I can probably squeeze up underneath him, and we had fun. But the thing is, Soul Train started changing because I wore a lot of clothes. I'm not saying that the ones that didn't weren't respectful, but I considered myself a lady, and I wanted to be treated like one.
Okay. And that wasn't the style of the day.
That wasn't the style of the day because I had, my hair was poofy. Um, we are embracing natural hair now, but at the time, I was told by Don Cornelius, may he rest in peace, that I needed to get a perm. And me, and me having the smart mouth that I did and still do from time to time, when he said that, I told him I'll get it if you pay for it. Because any any moisture, the morning mist, the night mist, any type of moisture made the hair start rising. And so I didn't get a whole lot of camera time because once he agreed that I was a cute girl.
Okay.
I remember Bobby Womack was on the show one day, and he was really smitten by me. And once he talked to me for a little while, and then once I started dancing and I started sweating, then the hair started poofing up. So,
the sister came out in you.
oh yeah, the truth.
The sister came out. Okay. The world of curls was not working. All right, baby. You know what? This has been a very interesting conversation. You share a lot of good information with me. I appreciate you taking your time out. Tell my boy Cleveland I said what's up.
I will.
Tell your son.
You got a show coming. Are you coming?
Where and when?
There's a Motown show coming at the Miracle Theater in Inglewood on November 26th, and we want to see you there.
I can work. That's local. That's close enough. That's very possible.
Local. We always have a nice time, and of course, it's always good seeing you. I am so flattered right now that you asked me to be a part of this. I mean, I'm really feeling good because it's because of you that we had somewhere to go. And when we were locking and
I got a quick question for you before we go.
what's that?
When you saw Eve After Dark on the Super Bowl, how did you feel about that?
Oh my God. I thought, what an honor. I thought, wow, I bet Lonzo was somewhere beaming with pride for you to have been acknowledged like that. Like I said, you have been supportive in so many careers and so many challenges. Wow, I thought it was really cool. I thought it was the most wonderful thing I'd ever seen.
Yeah, it kind of touched me too. I was at the Super Bowl, and
Wow.
like I said before, I had a tear run down one of my eyes. I'm like, damn, this dude got me on that one right there. I talked to him one time. Well, we text since then. We haven't talked, but I just want to find out what made him do that. I appreciate it. I'm just curious the thought pattern behind it. That's all. I'm
Because
funny like that.
you're a part of the history. Okay, it's like I'm a youth court judge now, but I didn't wake up one morning and decide, okay, that's what I was going to do. It was just that you gave us a place to channel some of the energy that we had. Every Friday and Saturday was the Eve After Dark.
You know what? And I think that's one of the problems we have right now. There's no way to direct that energy. That's why they're out in the middle of the streets going in circles at 50 miles an hour. That's why
Exactly.
they can't wait to do some dumb stuff. They sit home and watch video games all day long, and then want to go out in the streets and emulate the same shit they've been playing on at Grand Theft Auto shit.
Exactly. And Alonzo, the thing is, people
Go ahead.
think what they see is normal. Like I said, like we said earlier, people are very influenced by what they see on TV, and they think that's normal to them. They don't know it any other way. Okay, so we need another Eve After Dark somewhere, because even the street races, there was no trouble for us at the street races.
Just go out there and have a good time.
Okay, where's all this? The police is coming, and there's all this burning rubber, and they stopping traffic. We didn't do any of that stuff when we were hanging out on Crenshaw, and
We
then
found it.
that burger.
We always either you found a street that was vacant that night, because where I lived at off of Main and El Segundo, it was all factories on that street, so there was no traffic after a certain time on Sunday. So the street racers would line up down there, and they race down the street. They would use the light of 135th as the stoplight or as the start light, and they would just do that for a couple of hours, and then they leave.
And
Okay?
they leave.
Nobody traffic was not blocked up. Crenshaw, same thing. They blocked up a little traffic on Crenshaw, but I think one of the things I think that has really ruined had a major negative effect on our community is gang activity.
Yes.
Gangs have ruined a lot of things as far as entertainment wise. Everybody wants to claim a territory that don't belong to them.
Yeah.
People want to restrict people from coming to visit girls she don't like you. Why can't I go? Why can't I go here? She ain't for you, man. But if you can't have her, can't nobody have her. Get out of here with that. So you got a lot of situations like that. I just think that the whole mindset and to be in 2022 and still see that mindset being perpetrated on these kids, I think that's a damn shame for anybody to do that. And that's just
Absolutely. And I'm glad you brought that up, because that was something that, of course, I deal with from time to time, the violence, the fighting, and and everyone has a camera now. So we actually see the behavior. And my thoughts are, why are you so angry? Why are you so mad at this person? What have they done to you so terrible? The same thing with road rage. It's like, okay, you don't know this person. You don't know anything about this person. Okay, if you just make a right turn, they're going to keep straight, or vice versa, and you will never see that person again.
never see them again.
Never see them again. 10 seconds, 15 seconds, okay, of what I call brain fade, okay, will change the next 30 to 40 years of your life. It's just not worth it. You got people in custody right now that have never had an In-N-Out burger.
Oh,
Okay, because the laws are not as forgiving as people think that they should. Okay, I realize that your crime that you committed was 40 years ago, but okay, there is no statute of limitations on murder. Okay,
no.
and look at the lives that you have changed with the decisions that you've made. These young people, they got to think, because these are our new adults. Okay, and these young people have to think. Okay, 10 seconds. Do a challenge with me. Leave from your spot, go to your mailbox, and come back. That's how long it takes to get caught up in something that will change the rest of your life. It's just that.
I got to tell you one of my stories. I work a lot of cats from reentry, and I teach podcasting to reentry guys. And one of the guys was saying, "Man, I went to the bathroom. I was walking with two of my buddies. I went in the bathroom, took a leak. While I was in the bathroom, one of the young guys, robbed somebody. Okay, came out the bathroom. They started walking again. The guy they robbed went and got the police. Came back, scooped all three of them up." Yes. And the youngster who did the robbery, his mama convinced when they got to the courthouse, his mama convinced him to tell the police that he did the robbery, and he got 4 years. The youngster got 6 months in N.W.A. Okay.
Wow.
He was 19. The youngster was 16. They grew up together. 16 to 19. It ain't a big 3 years. Yes. But in the eyes of the law, it's a big difference.
Oh yeah.
So the 19-year-old got 4 years for robbery, and the 16-year-old went home 6 months later. But he said, "Man, I didn't do nothing. All I did was got picked up." And you can't. And here's something else: when kids get scooped up by the police, it's hard to tell a cop, "I just got in the car a minute ago. I wasn't even with them when they did that." Okay. Yes. And even the kids in the car can't even testify on your behalf. Most of the time, the cops feel that you either got them intimidated or they scared of you some way, form, or fashion, or you bribed them, or whatever the case may be. But they figure y'all in the crime. Somebody did it. Y'all in the car. Somebody committed the crime. Y'all all know about it. No, man, I was on the bus stop. They offered me a ride to the pad. That's all.
Exactly. That's why we have the youth court program, so that we can try and channel some of that. Because I'm sure, Lonzo, a lot of people. Okay, you can probably fill up. Okay, that new stadium that's out there in LA. So I know a lot of people, but you do not talk to them every day. You do not see them every day. And just like me, we reconnected just a few weeks ago. But the thing is, everyone is not going to make the cut.
Right. What happened? We froze. We was doing good. What happened? What happened? That must be a hurry. All right, folks, we have a slight difficulty here, but that's okay. She was just about to crank up too. We was about to wrap up, then we got into another conversation. It happens like that sometimes. That's why this is a live show, folks. Sometimes technical difficulties make an appearance, and we have no idea what's going to happen. We just do the best we can. Thank y'all for watching. I'm going to get back to you on the phone. Gary's Garage, Martin, my man Martin. Enjoy that cruise, Doc. Easy Steve. All y'all, I'll be back in a little while with Dr. Dre and our other show. In the meantime, don't forget, y'all, download the Entertainment Chamber app on Android and iPhone. I'm going to get back to my girl in a little while. I'll see y'all later.